Last time I saw the Land Cruiser, bright red, literally called Big Red. And we had just gotten it, started cleaning some stuff and realized we needed some expertise. Ended up calling my buddy Jamie. We're down here at B&H Customs. It had been down to his other shop, Thor. They wrapped the whole entire thing, and we've been waiting for parts to start coming in. Parts have been coming in, so we have, look, our suspension system, our new wheels, the new tires, we have bumpers, we have the, it's just like, it's all coming together, and I can't wait to see it. Two, I'm just like so pumped. This is an area that I don't know a lot about, and learning new things, more things. Like this is well outside my area of expertise, and the excitement around this is like palatable. And now seeing the product and seeing what's gonna go on there, dude, I'm just pumped. Dude, here it comes. Oh no! Look at this thing. Dude! Yeah. Dang! Dude, that looks so good.
It turned out good, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Definitely better than red. I think the wrap was a great pick.
Yeah.
And really sets it off for what we're trying to do here. So walk you around it a little bit.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
So some things we did, we went ahead and rhino-lined these fenders for you. The bed liner is going to give you a lot of extra protection, I think, when you're going down, kicking up rocks, going off-road. The wrap kind of gives you incognito. We went ahead and sprayed the top too. I think it was a good idea before we put the rack on.
Yeah.
I don't have a rack yet, but we're going to put it on there. It's going to kind of set that off. I think it's going to look really cool. It's a little naked right now, but we're going to walk around some parts and we're going to kind of put all these pieces together.
Yeah.
Something you and I talked about before, the things you wanted to do, the places you wanted to go. I think we got a good parts list started.
So we got some of the parts here. The Rhino liner looks awesome. This looks good too. They just nailed this pattern. I think it looks awesome. It's not like so military, not too camouflage, but just enough.
It's a good mix. I think it's a good balance.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
So you helped us really pick, listening to, I'm a family of 4, I got girls that are college age, I got kids that are preschool and elementary school. We want to do adventure, but not crazy technical off-road, because I'm not going to throw my 4-year-old and start bouldering at a high level, like some off-road stuff, but more like adventure seeking. With that in mind, this is where we're at. So what do we got here?
So with that being said, yeah, we started with the suspension, right? We want to make it comfortable. You're going to have your kids in there. You want to enjoy it. You don't want to be bouncing around the truck all the time. So we turned to Icon. Icon has made suspension for Toyotas forever. They do a great job. Their springs are triple rated. So what means is that through that whole spring, you're going to get like a progressive ride, right? So it's not going to be like stiff at the top and soft at the bottom. It can handle all the weight, which we're going to put some extra stuff on this thing too. So these are rated for that, for us to add some stuff. 2.5 shocks, meaning the diameter of the shock is 2.5 inches, adjustable for the ride. I'm going to be off-road. I'm going to be on-road.
Okay.
I want to make it soft. I want to get off-road. I want to get a little bit more aggressive. You can change it if you like. Maybe the kids are like, "Hey, Dad, it's too bumpy."
Yeah.
Go do your little thing. You can look cool, and they'll think that's fun. Pairing that with some Icon wheels. These wheels are a Beadlock. It's kind of an interesting thing that Icon spent a lot of time developing this wheel by making it a true Beadlock, but street legal.
So what does Beadlock mean, and why wouldn't Beadlock be street legal?
So usually it's a clamping type ring with bolts on it. Because those bolts can snap and it's not actually tight metal to metal, you've got the bead kind of stuck between. Those bolts can break, especially if you're running a higher pressure that you would normally run on the highway. The Beadlock's purpose is for you to dump the air pressure down so you can get extra traction. So if you've ever driven in the snow or in the mud, if you can get a big flatter, it's like standing on one foot versus one toe versus like standing like this. So what this allows us to do is once we seat the bead, these bolts all get set in the wheel and they hold that tire regardless of the tire pressure. So you can take the tire pressure down to 10 PSI, get a big, nice, soft footprint, get lots of traction, go where you want to go. Yeah. Or if you get stuck, well, you know, you have a refrigerator in the back. So this is a really cool feature that I think that we got kind of lined up, especially with kids, put all your juice boxes in here. This will plug in the back, and we're going to put it on a slider so it's easy to get to. But this is fun when you're out and about. Keep your stuff cold. Yeah. ARB developed these years ago, and I think they're awesome.
This is anybody that has a family. Snacks are just a way of life. It is not just for morale, sustainment, like life. I cannot handle my 4-year-old without snacks. We're healthy, we do, you know, but there will be yogurts in here. There will be raw milk in here. There will be cheese in here. You know, like there'll be little pancakes that we make with bananas and our chicken, fresh chicken eggs. I had a chicken die today. Yeah, super bummed. I have to go home and get it right now. But like this was, I know there's gonna be some nerds. They're like, wait, you're gonna put a refrigerator in there? It's like, yeah, man, I got a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old. Like this is, that's what this is. I hope that I'm gonna start progressing up into real off-road and real overland and real bouldering. But this is, I think, step 1 in my introduction to 4-wheeling.
Well, nobody wants to eat hot yogurt.
No, nobody wants that.
Yeah, so now we got cold yogurt. Nitto Ridge Grapplers, probably, I would say, the best tire on the market. Definitely is one of the most popular. Lots of grip off the road, lots of grip on the road. Quiet, but yet a very aggressive looking tire. Yeah. So gonna make the truck look really tough, but at the same time, you get a lot of performance out of this tire on and off the road.
Yep. Yeah. So,
if you notice, there's 5.
Yeah.
So you know, we're giving you a spare just in case, you know, something goes south.
I was in Moab with Andy Stumpf, Mike Glover, Evan Hafer, and as we're driving out, we get a flat. And then watching, you know, a Navy SEAL, couple of Green Berets start doing the fastest vehicle recovery imaginable at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. That spare tire was scary.
It's a lifesaver, probably.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, we were like 7 hours into nothing. Before we get to this stuff, weight-wise, how much do we have to, between these super aggressive tires, new wheels, new suspension, you know, we're gonna have an external battery back there. In addition to this thing, we're gonna throw a winch on there. You know, we have step ups. This was a requirement for my wife. And then the bumpers, this is a lot of weight. How does that play into?
Well, so anytime you change the static weight of the vehicle, right? And static, I mean by the truck is weighing this all the time now. We're not taking that weight in and out. It's not like luggage, right? So we have to account for that when we price the springs, right? So that's why I said earlier, Icon does a really nice job of staggering out the springs, 200 pounds, 400 pounds, 600 pounds, based on what you're going to do, because they know what you're going to do with a Toyota, right? You're going to take this thing out. You're going to have a spare. They're going to have stuff in the back. You might have a rooftop tent. You're going to have a lot of extra weight, and now it becomes static. So, you know, you could do other things if it was not static, but whenever it's the actual weight of the truck has changed completely, and that's just how it's going to be forever. The best way to do it is with a spring, because you can have ride quality built into that. So the other options would be like an airbag or some sort of ride height assist, right? But the problem with that is that if you do that and then you take all that weight out, the ride quality goes away. Yep. This is the solution for that, and they do a phenomenal job of it. Yeah. That's the answer to that. I mean, the things that you're going to be adding that are really heavy, like those bumpers hanging over there, with the spare tire hanging off the back, and then you're going to have the rooftop, right? We've got a bunch of stuff that's going on. We kind of have to have an idea of what that weight is before we select these springs. But there are a lot of options. So if we decide to add something down the road, we just change the spring out.
Yeah, that was actually a question in one of the last videos, was the pre-rebuild weight to the final finished static weight.
Oh, that would have been an interesting weight to get.
Yeah.
I could actually go through all the products and I could add it all up. My guess off the cuff is probably about 700 pounds. Okay. Maybe 750.
All right.
You'd be surprised how much some of the stuff doesn't weigh.
Yeah.
But another thing to think about, and I didn't mention this earlier, is whenever you do upsize your wheels and tires, right? We got that big heavy spare on the back. That's another advantage to these big 2.5-inch shocks, is that they're managing the unsprung weight of the vehicle. So now we're trying to manage these big tires, where originally this truck came with really small tires. But now we're trying to manage a tire that weighs, tire wheel combo, it probably weighs about 140 pounds each.
Yeah.
Right?
Whew.
So a shock's job is not just to keep the car from bouncing up and down, it's to keep the tire on the road.
Yeah.
We're trying to maintain traction all the time. So a shock is something I think that people undervalue and don't spend money on and don't consider to be really, really important. They think that a shock is a shock, and that is not true.
Yeah.
A shock has multiple functions, and handling the unsprung weight of a larger tire is something that I think that this shock is going to do a great job of.
I went on to Icon's website, and there's also some YouTube videos explaining how to, depending on what the surface you're driving on, to how much weight is in there, like adjusting these things. This is like a pretty rad world.
It can be if you're obsessive compulsive.
Yeah, which I am. My buddy Brendan Schaub he had this like tricked out TRX. I think he had like 1,700 horsepower in this truck. It was madness.
Monster
what he did.
Truck.
Yeah, monster. Yeah. And he flips it. Super embarrassed. He has a GoPro going inside of it. Didn't know if insurance was going to cover it. And so when he calls them, he's kind of beating around the bush a little bit. Like, hey, were you in a competition? Were you in a race? He's like, no, man, I was just driving, doing some like four-wheeling on the beach. Punched it a little bit too much. The four-wheel, something happened mechanically where like there had been so much fatigue because he'd been doing donuts nonstop for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And the thing's locked up, and he rolls this thing on video on YouTube. The Overland and four-wheel community, yeah, he made a mistake, super embarrassed, but they like totally embraced him. And like a whole bunch of people in the industry like hops in, like, hey, this is what happened, this is how it happened. The insurance company comes and steps in. But the thing that I was the most flabbergasted about is the internet is so terrible. It's just a terrible place but every once in a while you see this where the goodness and possibility of the collective thought, all of these experts come in, and he's got this badass new truck with all of these improvements on it. He's gonna be racing the Mint 400. And I'm experiencing the same thing because I don't know a ton about this. You're being really generous with your time and all of your mechanics and expertise, explaining like what to do and how to do it. But every time like we post one of these videos, like people get on there and they're talking about, a whole bunch of things I don't know about. Then I have to go and Google it and research a little bit. My buddy Mark is kind of walking me through it because he has his own Overland race team. And like he's giving me these nuggets of wisdom. He's like, hey, have you thought about this? I was like, no, man, I haven't thought about anything. If Jamie doesn't tell me about it, I don't know.
I should watch that and then comment in.
Yeah.
Should.
Oh yeah, absolutely should.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, this one's going to be out here short. All right, so we got.
Those are tires.
Oh man, these are so cool looking too. And these are freaking awesome.
I love ARB. I love it on Toyotas. I know there's a lot of really great bands out there, and I'm probably going to get questioned about that. But when it comes to tried and true Toyota accessories, ARB always tops the list. They have really, really designed their bumpers to be super functional. In this particular case, look at, you have a double swing gate. Like you just swung one out, but this tire didn't move. Awesome. You didn't have to, it's solid. I mean, the way they close, they don't rattle. Yeah. You get one that's it sits here and it jiggles, it's gonna rattle. This one, you close it, it's closed. Yeah, there's no coming loose. But the great thing about that is you got two tailgates. I can swing this out of my way, get in the back. I don't have to swing a big, huge arm with a tire and everything on it, and then have one hinge kind of holding all this weight, right? So having a double gate, it's so much more durable and easier to deal with. Swing both things out, open your tailgate, get to your stuff. Like we said earlier, this is some extra weight, but a lot of added protection. So,
Is this oil or is this fuel? Or is this water or is this fuel?
well, it's not yogurt and juice boxes, so it's not going to run off that. That is a size, particularly for a jerry can, right? Your old school red jerry can will fit right in that, and it straps right over with the hoops, right? So, but a jerry can, spare tire, flat, run out of gas, we got you covered.
Is this too aggressive?
Ooh, I don't know if that's such a thing.
All right. Because this thing, I mean, it looks military.
I mean, we are talking about you. I don't know that too aggressive
I want
is a
to
thing.
pit people. I want to ram people. This thing is just like, let's go.
That thing is not stopping. I don't know that it's going to be intimidated by anything. These things are great. The way that, like I said, the ARB, the way they build this thing, it's very durable. You can beat it up. You can bang it on rocks. You can run it through the trees. You got, your winch set up, lights, and everything has a place. Well thought out bumpers, and the fitment is always perfect. They look great on these 80 series too. We were talking earlier about some of the new ones, but man, the way that they built their whole business on these Land Cruisers.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Toyotas of War?
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite pages. I'm in there a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my Africa vehicle and my Northern Middle East vehicle. Both of those were Toyotas. I had a Hilux and a Land Cruiser that were my vehicles for trips. I'm like, oh, I'm in Toyotas of War. That was a little bit of the inspiration for this.
Well, I mean, you've been around the world. You know what they drive. Everybody drives these things because they don't break.
Yeah.
You start putting stuff like this on it, take it where you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a wife requirement.
Yeah. It's a good request.
Yeah. She couldn't clamber up into there. Not even before we put on new springs or bigger tires. I was giving her. She's a tiny thing, so you could just but she's excited to drive this thing.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, is that gonna be mine? I'm like,
sure.
But she wants it. So I was like, yes.
Oh, I love it. Well, these are cool. These are super functional, and they're nice to look at, which is great, aesthetically pleasing. And the bar actually integrates into the front bumper. So you're going to have, you said aggressive earlier, this is going to have a nice bar over the front fender, added protection, whether it be going through the brush or some low-hanging trees and stuff like that. Now you've got protection just to kind of move that stuff out of your way. It's not getting hung up in the tires. But one
of our students from Sheepdog Response, his name's Matt. He in the past 2 months he's a kind of like a roughneck that goes and does construction in oil and industrial construction. He's been pulled up on 2 real bad accidents, and both times these people were super tore up, and they're driving crap vehicles with no protection. This feels like a tank already.
Yeah.
It's
and you're hauling around some precious cargo. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's the responsible thing to do.
Okay. So, what are the next steps here?
So the next steps are for us to, we just got it back from wrap. We want to tidy up some of the trim and some of the colors so that it doesn't, just the little things that we're going to do. Before we start putting all these parts on, it's a lot easier for us to do that. And then the next things are going to be the suspension. We're going to do the suspension, wheels, and tires.
Yeah, we've got something to do there. So as this thing is going to look like the hotness on the outside, we were talking about putting in some race seats. We're talking about some navigation. I have a Starlink mobile coming in. Obviously, this is an original. This is just a radio thing that Dan had in there. So that can go away and be replaced with navigation. We're gonna have to talk through that a little bit, I think.
I think it would be fun to have as much navigation as possible, especially with your kids, right? Yeah. So even if we do put nav there, have nav somewhere else, something that the kids can work through. Might be just teach them how to move around. You're great at that.
I knew I was going to need help. I didn't know that this would be so far out of my area of expertise. And you are you have the best team in the world.
Well, I mean, I always say you're only as good as the people that are under you, you know, and
Well, you're just a magazine cover,
Oh.
you know, like both as an entrepreneur, but also like the expertise that you guys have. People recognize hard work, and I think you guys are killing it.
well, I've been blessed. I'm lucky to do something that I like to do. And
Same.
I think that when you can take passion and hard work, put it together, you can start accomplishing a lot. But I do have a lot of good people that work for me. And I think that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah. We're lucky in that
Very.
regard.
Yeah, very lucky.
I like you, Roy. Man, well, so we still have some things we got to figure out. We got to figure out navigation. We're talking about some specific race seats. If you guys have recommendations, if you have questions, we will answer as many questions. Jamie's going to hop into the comment section and answer some of those questions. Right now we're at Thor and B&H Customs. There's 2 locations here in Austin. And I mean, if you look at some of the vehicles that they have in here and some of the work that they do, it's world class. And I am going to be putting the loves of my life in these vehicles. And as competent and smart as I think I am, I would not trust myself to be putting like suspension and tires on something that, you know, my 4-year-old's going to be in or my wife is going to be in. Subscribe, follow, give us questions. The next thing we're going to be doing is kind of having like a complete version as we start letting out and heading out on an adventure. We have obviously some installs to do and a few more products to get. Would love input on all of those things. With that in mind, stay safe, stay free, and we're living in some crazy times right now. I think it's pretty great timing that we're doing some survivability, sustainment, preparation for protection. Yes, it's a ton of fun, but I also am super confident that I can like throw my family in here and we can be good to go for a while. It's a good feeling.
Great.
It's a good feeling. All right, love you guys. Thanks for everything. And dude, thank you. This is looking sick. So sick.